We had a great freshers party on Friday evening. Many of you were there, down in the basement. Food, drink, conversation, games. I got completely wiped out at Texas Hold'em. Thank goodness we were not playing for real money. And the student who won, she will remain anonymous to protect her. She's now been moved to the bar duty team. So unfortunately she won't be able to play poker next time we have a party. But in the middle of the evening, in the middle of all this normality, I had an amazing discussion about faith. I won't say what the other person said because, of course, it was confidential. But he was asking me about my own conversion and what changed me from being a hardened atheist at 16 to becoming a Catholic 3 years later, just before I went off to university myself. Well, it wasn't one thing, and that's the main point I was trying to get across to him. It was reading Shakespeare and Yeats and Eliot and Larkin, and having the horizons of my teenage imagination expanded. It was asking hard philosophical questions about the meaning of life and the origin of the universe. It was listening to the Bible readings in my school assembly. I remember the prologue of St. John's Gospel. In the beginning was the Word, and wondering if this Word were perhaps something real and alive and personal. It was walking in the park near our school and hearing a silence within the rustle of the leaves that was more than just an absence of sound. It was wandering into a Catholic church on a Sunday evening, seeing the congregation, like yourselves, kneeling in adoration in the middle of the Mass, and knowing that they were seeing something I couldn't yet see for myself. It was a friend offering to pray for me, and then, as if that wasn't scary enough, offering to pray with me, right there, right then. It was all of this together that changed me, gradually seeing the world in a new way, as a place that came from God, and as a place where God could be found, glimpsing something of his goodness and truth and beauty, and ultimately coming to see him in the face of Christ. I say all this today because the gospel reading we've just heard hangs on a single Greek word, metamelomai. Metamelomai. It means to change your mind. The first son in the parable does not want to work in the vineyard for his father, does he? He goes away, but something happens. He comes back and he enters the vineyard. Metamelomai. He changes his mind. He changes his heart. It's a subtle word in Greek. It literally means to change the things that you care about. This is a story, obviously, about moral conversion, but it's also a story about someone taking a step of faith. And it begs the question, why did he change his mind? Were there good reasons for his decision? That's what I want to ponder. Because many people today think that religious faith can have no rational foundation. It's a matter maybe of personal taste, like preferring McDonald's to KFC. Or it's something you just inherit, like your surname or your ethnicity. Or it's a lifestyle choice you buy into because of the benefits it brings, such as status or identity or great music or community or cake. And even if you seem to have rational, objective reasons, this is why I believe this is true. Many people have stopped believing in the very idea of truth itself. Everything to them is relative. and your objective arguments that sound so convincing are just another form of subjective preference. As Catholics, as biblical Christians, we have two fundamental convictions about faith, and it's worth spelling them out. On the one hand, we believe that faith is beyond reason. It's a supernatural gift. It's something we can pray for, and indeed we should, just to say, Lord, give me faith. Lord, help me to believe. And it's something we can be open to, searching, listening, asking questions. And it's something that eventually, perhaps, we need to say yes to. It requires both assent and action. This is what the second son in the parable lacked. And so, to believe is a verb, not a noun, remember. But it's always a gift. That's the point. There is a sense of wonder and even surprise. Why me? Why us sitting here this evening? We don't deserve it. And this great gift of faith, it can come suddenly in a dramatic conversion, or over many years, like a landscape slowly changing, or a child growing to maturity. Faith is a new way of understanding and seeing, and because it's a divine gift, it helps us to grasp things that are completely beyond reason, like the mystery of the Holy Trinity, the incarnation of the Son of God, the consecration of the bread and wine at Mass this evening, as they're transformed into the body and blood of Christ. Now, you can appreciate these mysteries and see them with the eyes of faith, but you can never fully understand or explain them. It's amazing that God gives us a share in his own knowing through the gift of the Holy Spirit. And this divine knowledge is so dazzling that it can sometimes seem like utter darkness to us. Okay, faith is a gift. We've got that. On the other hand, there's always an on the other hand. On the other hand, there are very good reasons to believe. We are not fideists. A fideist, from the Latin word for faith, is someone who thinks faith is completely blind, a step in the dark. You just have to accept everything uncritically and without any rational foundation. Basically, you switch off the brain. I'm giving a talk at King's on Thursday, and the title is simply, Are Christians Just Stupid? That's it. Come along if you want to know the answer. The sad thing is, if you admit you are Catholic, some people, and you can see it in their eyes, will actually assume that you are stupid, that you have no brain. You've probably experienced this, the look they give you when they discover you're Catholic. What do we think about this? Well, this is the on the other hand. As Catholics, we think that faith is reasonable, even if it takes us further than reason. Do you see the balance there? There are good reasons to believe. Personally, I wouldn't want to call this proof, like 2 + 2 = 4. I prefer to use the word evidence. Evidence that helps you piece together a clearer picture of the truth over time. Many of you are lawyers here. How in a court of law you can hear enough evidence to reach a conclusion that is beyond reasonable doubt. There is so much evidence out there for what we believe about the existence of God, the divinity of Jesus, the power of prayer, the holiness of the saints. So much evidence that it should make a rational person at least stop and think, and be open to the possibility that this is true. The Church speaks about, this is a lovely word, the credibility of Christian faith. Faith is believable, credible. And the New Testament itself very often speaks about signs and seeing. People see the miracles that Jesus performed. They're astonished by his teaching, his love, his kindness, his beauty. These people are not stupid. There are sound reasons for their belief. And in the Gospel today, Jesus criticises those who see the signs yet refuse still to believe. This is so important for you as young Catholic students. Don't switch your brain off when it comes to questions of faith. You are studying subjects of such complexity at some of the finest universities in the world. You need to bring the same intelligence to your Catholic faith that you bring to your studies. You need to know, first of all, what we actually believe as Catholics, and sort out the rumours and myths from the reality. You need to know why we believe what we believe, that there are good reasons. You need to bring as well your hard questions and doubts to a place where they can be explored and hopefully answered over time. Never be afraid of asking honest questions about faith, especially here in this chaplaincy, but anywhere. If your questions are sincere, and if the Catholic faith is true, which it is, then eventually you will, with God's help, find a way to bring your life and faith together without betraying one or the other. I promise you that. And if it takes time, don't give up. Be patient, be humble, trust in God and trust in his church. You can do all this for yourself. It's important. You deserve some clear thinking for yourself. But you also do it for others. Your friends need you to have some solid answers for them when they ask you questions. Now, you might not be Einstein or Thomas Aquinas. Get over it. But you are an ordinary, intelligent person who needs to have ordinary, intelligent answers. In his first letter, St. Peter writes, "Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have." The reason for the hope that you have. Notice St. Peter doesn't say that we have to prove that our Christian faith is true. We just have to say why we believe and to show that we have good reasons for our faith, even if they don't convince the other person. Do you know what really freaks people out? It's when they meet a normal, happy, intelligent young Catholic. That's it. It weirds them out. Last week, those of you at Mass remember, we had the Hello Challenge. You had to say hello to as many people as possible, with a big reward for the winner. The prize will be announced over cake after Mass. I spoke about the app that will help you with this, and would you believe it, 3 people actually believed there was such an app. Well, this week we have the, quote, normal, happy, intelligent Catholic challenge. For the student who manages to be normal, happy and intelligently Catholic for 7 consecutive days. Now this is difficult. Normal. That's going to be a struggle for many of you. Happy. Well, that comes and goes, and we're not always in control of that one. But intelligently Catholic, yes, we can work with that, and we can work on it. So let's do it. And I'm going to finish with a practical suggestion. How can you grow in your faith this year? Well, there's lots going on in the chaplaincy here, the whole programme of prayer and your Catholic societies in your colleges, etc. But I just want to highlight the fact that we have 5 courses running this semester as part of our midweek Newman House formation programme. And my suggestion is that you choose one of them as a way of deepening your faith and really commit to it. The programme is carefully designed so that there is something for everyone. And look, in a nutshell, here we go. Tuesday at 6, Catholic Apologetics. How to understand your faith and explain it to others in 59 minutes. Tuesdays at 7:30, Unlocking the Mystery of the Bible. A wonderful 8-week course that opens up the whole meaning of the Bible. Wednesdays at 6 o'clock, a faith sharing group where you can talk about your own faith, your own experiences, in a supportive and prayerful group to grow in friendship and faith together. Wednesdays at 7:30, Ways of Praying, a very practical course, in fact it's every 2 weeks, about different methods of praying. Often, I know, we want to pray, but we simply don't know how. No one has taught us. This will fill the gap. And finally, Thursdays at 7 p.m, starting later in the month, the Alpha course. The very basics of the Christian faith, what we believe and why. Maybe for you yourself as a refresher course, or for your friends especially, who are just wanting to explore. These are the options. What do you need most? What would you enjoy most? Really, please, think about it. Is it apologetics, Bible, faith sharing, prayer, or the basics of Christianity? Think about it and see if you can commit to one of them. And if you are not sure, you can go all in. That's a poker term that has a particularly painful resonance for me after Friday night's game. If you want this week, you can go all in, meaning you can come to all 5 courses this week and make a decision at the end. There will be another prize for anyone who manages that.